Welcome to today's transformation dive into the beautiful, sometimes terrifying world of your money. Let's be real. For most people, talking about finances feels less like plotting world domination and more like attempting parallel parking on a busy street. Awkward, stressful, and you just hope you don't crash. You see friends posting about their money wins or hear about people confidently investing, and you might feel a pang of, "Why not me?" or "I could never do that." We live in a world saturated with financial advice, hot stock tips, and budgeting apps. Yet, for so many, the core feeling around money is still one of anxiety, confusion, or just wanting to avoid it altogether. At Earn Flow Zone, we believe that true financial freedom isn't just about the numbers. It's about the mindset, the habits, and the understanding that you have more control than you think. We break down complex ideas, strip away the jargon, and focus on practical steps you can take today to build a stronger financial future, piece by conscious piece. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, signaling to the algorithm that this kind of empowerment is worth sharing. It genuinely supports the channel and allows us to keep creating content that aims to make a real difference in your life. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win you're proud of, big or small. Let's build this community together. This isn't about quick, rich schemes. It's about building a foundation, brick by brick, mindset shift by mindset shift. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You know the feeling. It's that quiet, persistent pit in your stomach that shows up whenever you think about your bank account, or maybe even just hear a financial news segment on the radio. For many, it's become a daily ritual, quickly swiping past the balance on your banking app, scrolling right past that number like it's an embarrassing photo from college. Or maybe it's those unopened envelopes piling up on the counter. Silent accusers you just can't bring yourself to deal with. You feel overwhelmed, maybe a little ashamed, and definitely like your financial situation is something that just happens to you. Like the weather or rush hour traffic. Something entirely outside your control, an external force determining your fate. Bills arrive unexpectedly, or maybe predictably, but you still feel surprised. Unexpected expenses pop up. Income fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and you're just stuck reacting, perpetually playing defense. Desperately hoping things magically get better on their own. This feeling of powerlessness is perhaps the biggest money myth of all. It tells you your financial story is being written for you by forces unseen and uncontrollable, rather than by you. And honestly, it's a comfortable lie. It's comfortable because it neatly absolves you of responsibility. If it's just happening to you, well, what can you do? It feels safe in its inevitability, but it's a trap, locking you into a frustrating cycle of anxiety and constant reaction. You tell yourself, if I just made more money, or when things finally settle down, things will change. But deep down, part of you knows it's not just about the numbers changing. It's about your willingness and ability to face them right where they are now. Here's the surprising insight. Your inaction is a choice. Not opening that bill isn't something forced upon you. It's a choice you make. Avoiding the balance isn't fate. It's a choice. And those choices have very real, very predictable consequences. They keep you exactly where you are, adrift. Simply drifting on the unpredictable currents of financial uncertainty, instead of grabbing the steering wheel. It's like leaving a sink full of dishes. They don't magically wash themselves, and pretending they don't exist just makes the mess bigger and smellier later. That heavy feeling of dread, that's not a sign you're failing. It's the signal. It's telling you it's time to take action, time to stop being tossed around and grab the wheel. It's time to shift from being a passenger, just watching the scenery go by, to becoming the captain of your own financial ship. The first step in taking radical ownership isn't about instantly fixing everything, paying off all debt, or tripling your income. It's about acknowledging the reality you've been avoiding. It's about standing on the deck, even if the storm is brewing, and looking honestly at the horizon, at the ship's current position. Right now, without judgment, just feel the discomfort. Acknowledge it exists. Try this for a week. Instead of swiping past your balance or ignoring that envelope, simply acknowledge the feeling it brings up. Don't open it yet if you can't, but notice the dread, the anxiety. Just notice it. This one habit changed everything for me. Because acknowledging is the first step toward owning. That feeling is the starting point for change. You feel it because you know there's a different way, a way where you're in control. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here in the Earn Flow Zone. We're peeling back the layers on something that holds so many of us back, something invisible but incredibly heavy. Ever feel like you're playing financial whack-a-mole, dealing with problems as they pop up but never really getting ahead? Or maybe you just avoid thinking about money altogether? It's a common trap. You see others posting highlight reels of their success, maybe a new car, a fancy vacation, or just looking generally unbothered by bills, and you feel a quiet knot of anxiety tighten in your stomach. Why does money feel so complicated, so stressful, so personal? Is it just the numbers, or is something deeper at play? We're about to uncover the surprising truth behind why taking control of your finances feels like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. It's not just about budgeting or investing. It's about understanding the psychology behind your money decisions or lack thereof. If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed and ready to actually build a solid financial foundation, not just dream about one, then you're in the right place. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about sustainable growth, both in your bank account and in your mindset. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. It signals to the universe and the algorithm that this is valuable stuff, and we can reach more people together. While you're there, drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win. What's one small change you've made that felt huge? Share it below. Let's build this community. Okay, enough preamble. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. So, diving straight into it, why do we avoid looking at our money? Why the financial phobia that grips so many of us? You might rationalize it by saying the numbers are just bad. I can't look. It'll just stress me out more. Or, I already know it's a mess. Why dwell on it and feel worse? It feels intuitive, right? Like ignorance is some kind of temporary bliss. But if you stop and think about it, this fear often runs far deeper than just disliking unfavorable numbers. It's the fear of what those numbers mean about you as a person. Are you irresponsible? A failure? Not smart enough with money? What if you look and realize just how far behind you are compared to where you thought you should be? What if you see the exact, cold, hard total of your debt, or the surprisingly meager amount you have in savings? It feels like stepping naked into a harsh spotlight, every past mistake laid bare. This intense, personal fear is what paralyzes you. It makes the terrifying unknown seem marginally safer and definitely less painful than the known, uncomfortable reality. Even if that unknown is constantly bubbling with background anxiety. Think about it. It's precisely like being afraid to go to the doctor because you might get bad news. So you just stay sick, sometimes getting sicker, while the anticipation of the bad news eats away at you. That anticipation is often far worse than the actual diagnosis. Because a diagnosis, however difficult, however scary initially, gives you a clear path forward. It provides direction. It's a problem you can now define and tackle, rather than a vague, looming threat. Here's the surprising insight that many people miss. The fear isn't usually about the size of the debt or the smallness of the savings in and of themselves. It's the fear of confronting your identity and acknowledging past choices that are reflected in those numbers. It's profound vulnerability. It's facing the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore, perhaps impulse spending habits, or a lack of planning, or just feeling lost. But here's the powerful reframe. Facing the numbers head-on isn't an indictment of your worth as a human being. It's an act of immense courage. It's the moment you decide, consciously or unconsciously, that you are worthy of knowing your financial truth and that you are absolutely capable of changing it. It's not about blame. It's about empowerment. It's taking back control from the fear. So let's start incredibly small, because small steps build momentum. For just 5 minutes today, simply list every single financial account you have. Checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, outstanding loans, student, car, mortgage, personal, investment accounts. Don't you dare look at the balances yet. Just list the names of the institutions and the type of account. That's it. That single simple act is taking one deliberate step out of the shadows and into the light. Try this for a week. Just acknowledge the existence of these accounts. That's your first victory against the fear. And so, as we wind down today's session in the Earn Flow Zone, take a moment to just breathe. We've talked about facing fear, about the surprising truth behind why looking at your money can feel like a personal attack. The one big takeaway, the golden nugget from our time together, is this. Your fear of finances isn't usually about the numbers themselves, but about the story you think those numbers tell about you. It's rooted in identity and past choices, not just arithmetic. But the beautiful, empowering truth is that facing those numbers is the essential first step towards writing a new story. It's an act of courage, a declaration that you are ready and worthy of financial clarity and growth. Think about the potential long-term benefit of simply taking that small step we discussed, listing your accounts. It breaks the paralysis. It removes the overwhelming unknown and replaces it with concrete data points. It's the difference between wandering lost in a dark forest and finally pulling out a map, even if you don't like where X marks the spot. Once you see where you are, you can plan where you're going. This isn't about instant riches or a perfect budget overnight. It's a deeper insight about growth itself. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about self-care. Facing uncomfortable truths about your money isn't about feeling shame. It's about building a foundation of self-respect and capability. It's choosing delayed gratification and long-term security over temporary avoidance and persistent anxiety. Every small act of financial courage builds your confidence, chipping away at that fear and reinforcing a new identity, one of financial strength, awareness, and intentionality. Keep that list of accounts handy. We'll talk about what to do next in our future sessions. Remember this truth, not just about money, but about any area of your life where you feel stuck. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, so you've got your list of accounts from the last step. Maybe it's longer or shorter than you expected. Now, let's talk about what facing those numbers really means, and it starts with a crucial distinction. People often hear about taking financial ownership and immediately jump to blaming themselves. Maybe you're thinking, ugh, if only I hadn't taken that low-paying job, or why did I rack up this credit card debt? It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming past decisions, past circumstances, or even past versions of yourself. And let's be clear, life happens. Bad jobs, unexpected crises like medical bills or car repairs, or maybe you just never got a decent education about money. These things are real, and they impact your financial reality. Blame feels natural, almost automatic for some of us. It's like a heavy anchor you keep dragging around, and frankly, it just keeps you stuck, staring at the waves you've already sailed through. But radical financial ownership? It's not about blame, not one bit. It's about standing firmly in the present, right where you are today, and saying, okay, this is my current financial landscape. How do I move forward from here? It's accepting your current reality. Yes, the good, the bad, the slightly embarrassing numbers as your undeniable starting point. Think of it like stepping onto a scale after avoiding it for months. The number is just data. It's not a moral judgment. It's just where you are right now. Ownership is looking at that number, acknowledging it without guilt, and then deciding your next step. Do you start with a walk? Do you plan healthier meals? It's all about the action moving forward. Consider that metaphor from the description. A CEO taking over a company in trouble. They don't walk in and spend months just pointing fingers at the previous management. Well, maybe they vent a little bit in private. We're all human. But their primary focus is forward. They look at the balance sheets, the operational inefficiencies, the market challenges, and they make a plan based on the current reality of the company. They own the problem, not in a sense of guilt, but in a sense of responsibility and capability. And in doing so, they gain the power, the leverage, to actually solve it. The moment they accept this is where we are, they unlock the ability to chart a course to this is where we're going. Here's a surprising insight that shifts everything. The very moment you stop saying, "This happened to me," and start saying, "This is my situation, and I will address it," you undergo a profound transformation. You shift from being a passive recipient of financial fate, someone tossed around by whatever storms come your way, to becoming an active creator of your financial future. This shift is incredibly empowering. You don't need to feel guilty or ashamed about how you got here. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. You just need to be willing to see things as they are, right now, and take the reins. So, building on the previous step, your action today is to revisit that list of accounts you started. And this time, for each one, every checking account, savings account, credit card, loan, investment account, find the current up-to-the-minute balance. Write it down next to each item. This isn't about judgment, it's about gathering data. You are creating your financial map, and these numbers are the key landmarks. This might feel a little uncomfortable, like turning on the lights in a messy room. But remember, you own the room, and only once you see it clearly Can you decide how to clean it up, redecorate, or build an extension? This is you taking that crucial step into powerful ownership. All right, let's talk about a particularly sneaky trap, one that catches almost everyone at some point: the lie of waiting. You know the feeling. You've got these financial goals, or maybe just the urgent need to tackle a financial mess. But you tell yourself, I'll start budgeting when things settle down. Or I'll finally look at consolidating that debt after this big project is over at work. Perhaps it's the classic, I'll start saving seriously when I finally have some extra money. This is it. This is the lie. It's procrastination wearing a very convincing suit of prudence. It whispers that there's a magical future moment when everything will align perfectly. You'll have more time, more money, fewer worries, and then you'll get serious about your finances. But let's be real for a second. Think about it. Has there ever been a truly right or easy time for anything important? Life is inherently messy. There will always be unexpected expenses popping up. Income might fluctuate like a yo-yo, and your time? It's constantly being pulled in a million directions. Waiting for perfect conditions is not just avoiding the task, it's avoiding reality. It's like saying, I'll wait until I'm a master chef before I even try cooking dinner, or I'll hit the gym once I'm already in peak physical condition. Sounds a bit absurd when you put it that way, right? Yet, we apply this exact flawed logic to our money. We wait until we feel ready, until we have enough, until the stars align. Here's the surprising and maybe uncomfortable truth. The right time is not a future date on your calendar. It's a mirage. The absolute best time to start taking ownership of your financial life was probably years ago when you first thought about it. But guess what? The second best time, the time that is still incredibly powerful and effective, is right now, with exactly what you have and exactly where you are. Not when you get the raise, not when work calms down, not when you magically have extra. Every single day you wait, potential progress is being lost. If you have debt, interest isn't waiting. It's compounding, silently working against you, making that mountain just a little bit steeper. If you're not saving, potential growth isn't waiting either. The magic of compound growth is sitting on the sidelines, doing nothing for you. People often underestimate the sheer power of starting. No matter how small the start is, you truly do not need a lot of money or perfect circumstances to begin owning your finances. You just need to begin. The biggest hurdle is often just that initial inertia, overcoming the lie that you need to wait. So, here is your concrete action, your challenge to dismantle this lie today. Pick one small, specific money task that you have been avoiding. Maybe it's checking your account balance, logging into that investment platform you opened ages ago, automating a tiny transfer to savings, or listing out your debts. Whatever it is, make it bite-sized. Commit to doing it within the next 24 hours. Set a reminder on your phone. Make this one tiny action non-negotiable. This isn't about fixing everything at once. It's about breaking the cycle of waiting and proving to yourself that the time is now. All right, so we've talked about getting into the right headspace, understanding the big picture, maybe even visualizing where you want to go. But let's get real for a second. You can have the most ambitious destination in mind, but you simply cannot navigate anywhere if you don't know your current starting point. This is the fundamental act of financial ownership, the bedrock upon which all growth is built. Knowing your numbers. It's not about having a perfect budget or spreadsheet from day one. Trust me, nobody starts there. It's about establishing your current coordinates, raw and unfiltered. Think of it like trying to drive to a brand new city you've never visited before. You wouldn't just hop in the car, guess which way is north, and hope for the best, right? You'd pull up the map, punch in your current location, and see where you are relative to your destination. That's exactly what knowing your numbers is. It's your financial GPS. You need to see the live data stream. How much money is actually coming into your life? How much is flowing out? Where precisely is it going? How much do you currently owe? That's your debt. And how much do you own? Your assets. This snapshot, this moment-in-time data set, is your financial starting line. For someone just beginning this journey, maybe feeling a little broke or overwhelmed, knowing your numbers might mean something incredibly simple, yet powerful. Tracking every single dollar spent for a week. Forget judgment, just observe. See where the money is actually vanishing to, versus where you think it's going. You might find yourself staring down the barrel of a daily coffee habit that costs more than you thought, or realizing the money isn't disappearing into big purchases, but 1,000 tiny little leaks. For someone who's a growing earner, perhaps past the initial scramble, this could mean consolidating all your account information, bank accounts, credit cards, investments, loans, into one place to get a clear view of your total financial landscape, understanding your net worth. And for the ambitious builder, the one juggling multiple income streams or investments, it's about understanding the cash flow across your entire system, like tracking inventory and sales in a growing business. Here's the often surprising insight. The reality revealed by these hard numbers is almost always different from the story you've been telling yourself. You might sincerely believe you spend conservatively, only to find a significant chunk is going towards impulse buys or subscriptions you forgot you had. Or perhaps you underestimate how much is coming in from a side hustle. The data itself is neutral. It's just information. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. But information is power. It removes guesswork and emotion and replaces it with concrete facts you can actually work with. Trying to improve your finances without this step is like trying to lose weight without ever weighing yourself. You're flying blind. You could be doing everything right, but not seeing results because you missed a crucial piece of information. The cause? Lack of clear data. The effect? Stalled progress and frustration. This habit, this foundational step of getting clear on your numbers, has been a game changer for so many people, myself included. It transforms vague anxiety into specific challenges you can address. Ready for your first concrete action? For the next 3 full days, just 3, track every single dollar you spend. Every coffee, every grocery item, every bill payment, every impulse click. Use a simple notebook, a note on your phone, a basic spreadsheet, or one of the countless tracking apps available. Seriously, just pick the easiest one. The goal is pure, simple observation. No judgment, no trying to stop spending. Just track and see the truth of your flow. This one simple habit can change everything you thought you knew about your money. Welcome to today's transformation dive here at Earnflow Zone. We're pulling back the curtain on the sneaky ways money controls you and how you can flip the script entirely. Because let's be honest, just having money doesn't guarantee freedom or happiness, any more than just having a gym membership guarantees abs. It's what you do with it, how you think about it, and the actions you consistently take that truly matter. People get caught up in the chase for the next dollar, overlooking the fundamental shifts required within themselves to actually manage, grow, and keep that dollar. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of quicksand. Impressive in theory, but ultimately unsustainable. You see friends or colleagues making seemingly effortless strides, and you wonder, what's their secret? Often, it's not some hidden investment scheme or lottery win. It's a quiet, powerful mastery of their inner world reflecting outwards onto their financial reality. It's not magic, it's method, paired with mindset. We're cutting through the noise, the get-rich-quick fantasies, and the overwhelming financial jargon to get to the heart of it. You, your habits, your beliefs, your actions. That's where the real power lies. So if you're tired of feeling like money is something that just happens to you, rather than something you actively shape and direct, you're in the right place. This isn't about deprivation or complicated spreadsheets. It's about clarity, control, and ultimately, peace of mind. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your financial life, not just being a passenger along for the ride, bracing for every bump. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Okay, so you've started tracking your spending. Maybe you've done it for a few days, maybe a week or two. That's fantastic. Seriously, give yourself a pat on the back, because most people don't even get this far. They see the word budget or tracking, and their eyes glaze over faster than a Krispy Kreme donut. But here's the honest truth, and a point where many people stall out. Tracking is just the first step. It's collecting the ingredients, but you haven't started cooking yet. Ownership isn't just about collecting data. It's about becoming a detective and understanding what that data is telling you. It's about moving beyond tracking and learning how to find your patterns. Think about it like wearing a fitness tracker. The tracker collects data, steps, heart rate, maybe sleep duration. That's the tracking. But the insight comes when you look at the data over time and notice, hey, I hit my step goal every day except Wednesdays, or my resting heart rate is lower when I get more than 7 hours of sleep. That's identifying a pattern. Your spending tracker works the exact same way. Once you have that raw data, you need to look for patterns. Where is your money consistently going? Are you noticing a daily coffee run that adds up? Weekly impulse buys at a particular store? Are there spending triggers, moments or emotions that consistently lead to opening your wallet? Stress shopping is a classic. Boredom browsing online is another. Maybe it's social situations. You always pick up the tab or feel obligated to keep pace with friends' spending. Are there recurring expenses you totally forgot about until they popped up? Like that streaming service you haven't used in months? Or an annual subscription? Are you consistently overspending in one area? Maybe groceries because you shop hungry? Or entertainment because FOMO is real? This is where the insight of ownership truly comes in. You're not just seeing lists of transactions. You're seeing your behaviors, your habits, and sometimes your subconscious beliefs reflected directly in your money flow. Here's a surprising insight, and it might sting a little, but stick with me. Your spending patterns often reveal your deepest values, your true priorities, and your underlying beliefs about money far more accurately than anything you say you value. You might say that saving for a down payment is your top priority. But if your spending pattern shows very little being saved and a whole lot being spent on dining out and new gadgets, your actions are telling a completely different story. The money doesn't lie. It shows you in cold, hard numbers what you prioritize with your time and energy. because that's what earning money is, right? Traded time and energy. So where does that energy actually end up? Ownership means looking at that reflection, accepting it without judgment. This is crucial. Then aligning your actions with your intended priorities. It's about closing that gap between what you say matters and what your spending proves matters. It's uncomfortable, sure, like seeing your reflection in a slightly harsh light, but it's also incredibly empowering because once you see the pattern, you can change it. And changing a pattern is fundamentally easier than changing a random, isolated event. Your action right now, something you can do as soon as this video is over, is simple but powerful. Review your spending tracker from the last few days or the last week. Look for repetition. Look for consistency. Identify one clear pattern, just one. Don't try to fix everything at once. Maybe it's I buy lunch every day at work instead of bringing it. Maybe it's I spend a surprising amount on streaming services and subscriptions I don't use. Or perhaps it's most of my extra money seems to disappear into impulse purchases on Amazon. Identify just one clear pattern. Write it down. Seriously, grab a notebook, a sticky note, or open a note on your phone. Writing it down makes it real. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. This one habit, just noticing and naming the pattern, changed everything for me because it pinpointed exactly where my energy was leaking and where I could make a targeted, impactful change. Don't analyze why yet. Just identify what is happening. That's step one in taking true ownership. All right? We've covered the crucial step of moving beyond just tracking and digging into the powerful insights revealed by your spending patterns. Understanding where your money is actually going, identifying those recurring behaviors and triggers isn't about judgment. It's about illumination. It's like finally seeing the map of your financial territory, rather than just stumbling around in the dark, hoping you're heading the right way. This isn't just about saving a few bucks here and there. This is about gaining control, building conscious habits, and ensuring your money is actively supporting the life you truly want to build, not just funding autopilot behaviors. The big takeaway here? Data is just information. Patterns are insight, and insight is the fuel for transformation. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. By seeing the pattern, that daily coffee, that weekend impulse buy, that forgotten subscription, you gain the power to interrupt it. This potential long-term benefit is massive, not just more money in the bank, but a profound sense of agency and alignment. Your spending becomes a reflection of your values and goals, not just your whims or old habits. This deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth is this. True financial growth isn't just about earning more. It's about becoming more conscious, more intentional, and more aligned with how you use the resources you already have. It's mastering the small, consistent actions that lead to big results over time. It's not about being perfect, but about being aware. Take that one pattern you identified and just sit with it. Don't fix it yet. Just know it. Because knowledge is the first step to power. And in the Earn Flow Zone, we use that power to build not just wealth, but a life by design. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. With knowledge, your data, and understanding, the patterns you've identified, you finally unlock the core power of financial ownership, conscious decision-making. This is the turning point where you stop being a passive observer, watching money just happen to you, and start becoming the active architect of your financial life. Think of it like upgrading from being a passenger on a bus driven by fate to taking the wheel of your own financial vehicle, deciding exactly where you want to go. Instead of money simply slipping through your fingers, a feeling many of us know all too well, perhaps like trying to hold on to a wet bar of soap, you consciously decide where every single dollar goes before it ever leaves your pocket or account. This is the heart and soul of practical money management. Budgeting isn't a straitjacket, it's your GPS. Saving plans aren't about deprivation. They're about intentional future creation. Debt repayment strategies aren't just lists of numbers, they're liberation pathways. Investment choices aren't gambles, they're strategic allocations of your resources towards growth. It all boils down to prioritization. You are allocating your hard-earned money, a finite and valuable resource, to align perfectly with your deepest goals and values. It's like packing a suitcase for a trip. You don't just throw things in randomly. You consciously choose items that serve the purpose of your journey and align with your planned activities. Let's make this really tangible with that classic example: dining out. You've tracked your spending. That's the data. And perhaps noticed a pattern, the understanding, that you're spending, say, $300 a month on eating out. Now, with your conscious decision-making power activated, you ask yourself, is spending $300 a month on dining out truly aligned with my goal of saving diligently for a down payment on a home, or perhaps building a solid emergency fund? If the answer is not entirely, you don't just shrug and hope it gets better. You consciously decide to make a change. Maybe you decide to reduce dining out to $150 and consciously redirect that other $150 straight into your savings account. You are making the call. You are in control. Here's the surprising insight, the paradigm shift most people miss. Many feel utterly restricted, even suffocated, by the very idea of a budget. They see it as a list of can'ts. But a budget, when done consciously and based on your goals, is actually a freedom tool of epic proportions. It frees you from the nagging anxiety of not knowing where your money vanished to each month. It liberates you from the guilt of spending because you've already allocated funds for your priorities. Yes, including fun. When you spend that $150 you consciously budgeted for dining out, you do it guilt-free, knowing you've already taken care of your bigger goals like savings. You've given yourself permission to enjoy life within a framework you designed, rather than feeling guilty every time you swipe a card while your savings goal seems light years away. This is powerful. Your action right now, based on that pattern you've identified from your tracking and understanding, make one conscious decision about how you will handle money differently today or tomorrow. Don't overcomplicate it. Will you pack your lunch tomorrow instead of buying it? Will you finally sit down and cancel that one streaming service you barely use? Will you decide right now to put an extra $20 towards debt this week because you saw how much interest you paid last month? Just pick one. Make that conscious choice. Feel the shift from passive hoping to active doing. This one conscious decision is the smallest key that unlocks the biggest doors to financial control. Try it. Okay, let's dive into Section 8 of the script, focusing on ownership at every level. Begin Section 8. Now, pulling all these pieces together, we arrive at a principle that is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to build real wealth and lasting growth. Ownership at every level. This idea, This principle of radical ownership isn't something reserved for the Warren Buffetts or the folks with alphabet soup spreadsheets and seven-figure incomes. Oh no, it applies to everyone, regardless of where you are standing right now on your financial journey. Think of it like getting fit. Whether you're aiming to walk around the block or run a marathon, you have to own the decision to move. The amount of movement changes. The tools, fancy shoes, tracking watches change, but the decision to own your physical state is the same. Let's break down what this ownership looks like depending on your current zone. For the broke beginner, staring down bills with more month than money, ownership isn't about managing a stock portfolio. It's about owning the necessity of finding any income stream possible. Picking up side gigs, selling unused items, whatever it takes. It's owning the absolute, non-negotiable discipline to track every single penny, ensuring needs are met before even thinking about wants. This level of ownership requires deep self-awareness and courage. It's owning the uncomfortable truth of your situation and owning the courage to ask for help or advice, whether from a mentor, a financial literacy program, or even a trusted friend who's slightly ahead of you. That's raw, powerful ownership in action. You realize you aren't a victim of circumstance. You're the active participant in changing it. As you transition to the growing earner level, maybe your income is rising, maybe you've got some savings. Ownership takes on new challenges. This is where the sneaky beast of lifestyle creep loves to rear its head. Ownership here means owning your lifestyle choices as income increases. It's making conscious, deliberate decisions about saving and investing percentages before you upgrade everything in sight. Do you really need that brand new car? Or could that payment go towards building an investment portfolio that will work for you for decades? It's owning the increasing complexity of growing assets, learning about different investment vehicles, and taking responsibility for making informed decisions about your accumulating wealth. It's easy to just let money sit or spend it because you can now. Ownership is asking, what is this money for? And then there's the ambitious builder. You're managing significant capital, maybe running a business, investing substantial sums. Ownership here is about owning risk, calculated risk. Yes, but owning the potential downsides as much as the upsides. It's owning the responsibility of managing significant capital, not just for yourself, but perhaps for employees, partners, or investors. It's owning the long-term vision, staying disciplined and focused even when the market crashes or your business hits a major setback. Taking on business debt for expansion, for example, isn't just a financial transaction. It's owning a calculated gamble on the future, backed by your belief and hard work. You own the success, and you own the struggle. Here's the truly surprising insight, the myth bust, if you will. The principle of ownership is exactly the same at every level. Only the numbers get bigger, and the tools might get more sophisticated. The gritty discipline and unwavering mindset you build by owning the process of tracking every $100 when you're starting out are the very same muscles you need to own the responsibility of managing $100,000 or even $1 million later on. Cause and effect are clear here. Owning the small steps builds the capacity for the big ones. Sail to own your decisions at the $100 level, and you'll likely stumble at the $100,000 level because the foundational mindset isn't there. This one habit changed everything for me. Understanding that ownership isn't granted, it's taken. Your action for this section, something tangible you can do right now, is to identify specifically what taking ownership looks like for your current financial situation and goals. Be brutally honest with yourself, based on the beginner, growing earner, or ambitious builder descriptions, or perhaps somewhere in between. What does ownership mean for you today? Write down 1 to 2 concrete actions related to your specific level. Maybe it's setting up that budget spreadsheet you've avoided. Maybe it's scheduling dedicated time to research investment options. Or maybe it's having a tough conversation about business finances. Own it. So we've talked about briefly reference previous topic and how those little shifts can start the momentum. But there's an even deeper layer, a foundation that truly anchors your financial journey. It's something surprisingly simple, yet profoundly powerful. Taking radical ownership of your finances. Now, this might sound heavy, like being handed the keys to a complex machine you don't understand. But trust me, moving from avoiding your money situation, pretending it doesn't exist, or feeling overwhelmed by it, to actively engaging with it creates an incredible internal shift. When you step up and say, "Okay, this is mine to understand and manage," you move from feeling like a victim of circumstance to feeling like a capable agent in your own life. You stop being swept along by the financial currents and start learning how to sail. This doesn't automatically mean you're rich, right? Financial confidence isn't measured by the number in your bank account alone. It comes from the knowing. Knowing where your money goes, knowing how to plan, knowing how to make decisions, knowing you have the tools to navigate whatever comes your way. It's that quiet certainty that you can handle your financial reality, good or bad, because you understand it and you are actively steering the ship. Think about learning to drive, which is a great parallel. At first, sitting behind the wheel, the road feels terrifying, the controls overwhelming. You might even dread getting in the car. But as you practice, learn the rules, understand how the pedals and steering wheel work together, and gain control of the vehicle, what happens? Your confidence grows exponentially. You can handle unexpected traffic jams, sudden detours, even parallel parking. Okay, maybe not parallel parking instantly, let's not get crazy. Similarly, as you practice financial ownership, tracking your spending, building a simple budget, understanding your debts and assets, that initial fear subsides. It's replaced not by arrogance, but by a quiet competence, a feeling of being grounded and in control. Here's the surprising insight that challenges how many people think about security. True financial security isn't just a large number in the bank. It's the deep-seated belief in your ability to generate income, to manage expenses wisely, to adapt to challenges like a job loss or unexpected bill, and to make sound financial decisions consistently over time. The bank account is a result, but the ability is the engine. Ownership is the muscle you build that creates this ability. It's like training for a marathon. The finish line time is great, but the true win is the strength, endurance, and belief in your body you built along the way. This foundational shift changes everything. It takes the emotional charge out of money, well, most of it, and replaces it with clear-eyed strategy. It reduces anxiety because you're facing the unknown with preparation, not avoidance. This one habit, leaning into ownership rather than away from it, changed everything for me, transforming dread into direction. Ask yourself Think about a non-financial area in your life where you feel truly confident. Maybe it's cooking a complex dish, playing a sport, leading a team, or even navigating social situations. How did you build that confidence? What steps did you take? Likely facing challenges, learning from mistakes, practicing skills, and taking action. Now, reflect honestly on how you can apply that exact same process, that same courage to learn and act, to your finances. The path to confidence is remarkably similar, no matter the domain. Now, let's talk about what radical ownership doesn't mean, because this is where many people get tripped up. Embracing this level of responsibility over your finances doesn't suddenly transform you into some kind of flawless, money-managing robot. Let's be real. Life is messy, and your financial journey is going to be a winding road, not a perfectly straight line. You will overspend sometimes. You will face unexpected bills that completely derail your carefully crafted budget. Because, well, car repairs don't send RSVP cards. You might even make an investment mistake that makes your stomach drop a little. This is all just part of the human experience. Ownership isn't about achieving perfection. It's about relentless persistence and the willingness to course correct. Think of it like navigating with a GPS. Sometimes you miss a turn, right? Ownership isn't throwing the GPS out the window and giving up on reaching your destination. It's the system recalculating, and you simply turning around when it's safe to do so. When you slip up financially, and you will, trust me, you will. Ownership means acknowledging it honestly, without getting swallowed whole by shame or self-judgment. It means taking a moment to figure out why it happened, learning the lesson embedded in the mistake, and then, crucially, getting right back on track. This is the core insight that separates those who build lasting wealth from those who stay stuck. Recognizing that one bad financial day, one impulse purchase, or one unplanned expense does not erase all the progress you've made. Think about it like healthy eating. That classic analogy. You can eat well for weeks, but then you have one weekend where you indulge a bit too much. Ownership isn't saying, "Ugh, I blew it. I might as well just live on pizza forever." It's saying, "Okay, that happened. Back to my healthy habits tomorrow." It's about the resilience to get back on the horse instantly. The surprising truth is that so many people completely quit their financial journey because they believe one slip-up signifies total failure. They internalize it as, "I'm bad with money," instead of, "I made a mistake and learned from it." But real financial mastery, true earn flow zone success, comes not from never messing up, but from the grit and willingness to keep learning, adapting, and adjusting, no matter how many detours pop up. This perspective shift is powerful because it reframes mistakes as data points for learning, rather than indictments of your character or destiny. It gives you permission to be human while still striving for financial health. Your action step right now. Give yourself permission to be imperfect. If you've had a financial slip-up recently, and who hasn't? Instead of dwelling on the mistake itself, spend 5 minutes identifying one specific thing you learned from it. What was the trigger? What felt different this time? Then, pinpoint one small, actionable thing you can do differently next time. Write both the lesson and the action down. This one habit changed everything for me, turning moments of failure into building blocks for future success. This might feel like a lot of small, disconnected steps, right? You're tracking your spending, maybe staring blankly at a spreadsheet. You're analyzing habits that might be costing you more than you think. Then comes the difficult part, deciding to change, adjusting your actions, and persisting through setbacks when things don't go perfectly. Individually, each of these acts can feel minor, even insignificant on a tough day, like putting just $5 or $10 into a savings account. It doesn't look like much when you check it the next day or even the next week. But this is where the true power of personal finance kicks in, mirroring one of the most potent forces in the financial world: compound interest. Think of consistent, radical financial ownership as the personal growth equivalent of compound interest. Each small act of facing your numbers builds a tiny bit of momentum. Every conscious choice you make, even a small one like packing your lunch instead of buying it, reinforces your control. Persisting through the inevitable setbacks, maybe an unexpected bill throws you off, or you overspent on something fun, doesn't erase your progress. It strengthens your resilience. Over time, these small, consistent acts compound. You gain incredible clarity about where your money actually goes and where it could go. The chronic anxiety that many people carry around about money starts to diminish because you're no longer operating in the dark. You start making genuinely better, more informed decisions, not based on fear or impulse, but on understanding and intention. And slowly, sometimes so gradually you barely notice it happening day to day, you start steering your financial ship. You're not just drifting with the currents. You are actively navigating towards your desired destination. This is the journey into what we call the earn flow zone. That sweet spot where managing your money stops feeling like a crushing burden and starts feeling like a natural, powerful extension of your capability. It's where your financial life isn't a source of constant stress, but a system you understand and operate with increasing confidence and ease. You are unequivocally in control. You are adaptable, able to pivot when life throws curveballs. You are building something meaningful, brick by brick, decision by decision. Let's go back to that relatable example: saving small amounts consistently. That $5 or $10 saved regularly over years, especially when it starts earning even a little bit of growth, becomes significant. It's not magic, it's math plus consistency. The compound effect of ownership is precisely similar. Those seemingly insignificant acts of tracking, analyzing, and choosing build a massive internal shift towards control and peace of mind. You build a muscle for financial discipline and insight. It's like getting fit. You don't get visible abs after one workout, right? But consistently showing up, consistently owning the process, that's where the magic happens. Your financial muscles get stronger, more capable. Here's the surprising insight, something that challenges common thinking. Financial freedom isn't just about having enough money. We all know people with high incomes who are financial disasters, or people with modest incomes who are incredibly secure and happy. That's because true financial freedom is fundamentally about having enough control over your money and enough confidence in your ability to handle what you have and generate income effectively. You can have $1 million, but if you don't know how to manage it or constantly fear losing it, you aren't truly free. Ownership, radical, consistent, conscious ownership, is the absolute bedrock of that freedom. It's the foundation upon which you build the control and confidence that money alone can't buy. Your action step for today, if you're serious about unlocking this compound effect, is simple but powerful. First, visualize where you genuinely want to be financially in 5 years. Get specific. What does your life look like? How does money factor into it? Now, grounded in taking radical ownership of your present reality, identify just one single step you can take today that directly aligns with moving towards that future vision. Maybe it's finally logging into that tracking app, or setting up an automatic transfer of just $10, or analyzing your last month's spending for just 15 minutes. One step. Take ownership of it. Do it today, because that small act is contributing to the compound effect that will transform your financial future. We've covered a lot of ground today on our journey into the earn flow zone. And as we wrap things up, let's distill it all down to the core principle, the anchor point for every strategy, every mindset shift we've explored, taking radical ownership of your financial reality. It's not some abstract concept or a nice-to-have idea. It's the fundamental shift required to build a thriving financial life. It means facing your numbers head-on, no matter how uncomfortable that feels initially. It means understanding your spending patterns, the habits that serve you and the ones that hold you back. It means making conscious decisions about where your money goes, aligning your spending with your values and goals. And perhaps most importantly, it means persisting through the inevitable challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. This principle is the difference between feeling like money is something that just happens to you, a force outside your control that dictates your stress levels and your opportunities, to knowing deep down that you have the power, the agency to manage what you have right now, to grow it, and to actively create the financial future you want. It's the profound shift from drifting aimlessly on the currents of circumstance to actively grabbing the helm and steering your ship towards your chosen destination. Now let's just briefly consider the alternative, because understanding what you're leaving behind is powerful motivation. What happens if you ignore this lesson of ownership? If you continue to avoid looking at your bank statements, stay stuck in the fear of the unknown, and let unconscious habits and societal pressures dictate your financial life? The description is stark, but real. Your anxiety will likely grow, not shrink. Financial opportunities will pass you by unnoticed because you lack the clarity or the reserves to seize them. Debt won't just sit there. It will feel heavier, a growing weight on your shoulders. Savings goals will remain distant, frustratingly out-of-reach dreams, because the foundation isn't there. You'll stay trapped in that cycle of reaction and powerlessness, always feeling slightly behind, perpetually stressed about money. You'll be trying to build your financial life, your security, your freedom, on shifting sand instead of solid, predictable ground. Essentially, you are leaving your most powerful tool, your agency, your ability to choose and act in your own best interest, completely on the table unused. It's like having a superpower and just not using it. But you're still here, aren't you? You've stayed with me through this transformation dive. That fact alone means you know, on some level, that there is another way. You've already taken the courageous first step, simply by acknowledging the need for change, by being willing to listen and learn. That spark of desire for something better, for control, for peace of mind, is already within you. Now, it's time for the next one. And this step needs to be concrete, small enough to be manageable and immediate. Forget trying to conquer Everest today. Forget needing to have a perfect, complex financial plan ironed out right now. Just focus on this one deliberate act of ownership, this single conscious decision to step into your power. The easiest, most foundational step we discussed that embodies this ownership is simply understanding where your money actually goes. It's the quickest way to remove the blinding fear of the unknown and replace it with a clear map of your current financial terrain. You might be surprised by what you find, by how much those small, thoughtless purchases add up, or conversely, how much wiggle room you actually have. Myth bust. Many people believe tracking every penny is only necessary if you have complex finances or a ton of money. But the truth is, it's even more critical when you're building wealth because it reveals hidden leaks and empowers you to make intentional choices with every single dollar. This one habit, gaining visibility into your cash flow, has fundamentally changed the financial trajectory for countless people I've worked with and mentored. So here, right now, is your single most important action to take today, the moment this video ends. For the next 3 days, track every single dollar that comes in and goes out. Don't overthink it. Use a simple notebook, a basic spreadsheet, a free tracking app, whatever feels easiest to start with. The method isn't as important as the act itself. No excuses, no judgment about what you spend it on during these 3 days. Just pure, honest data collection. Be a scientist observing your own financial behavior. This is your starting point. This is you physically, actively grabbing the helm of your financial ship for the first time, or perhaps the first time in a long time. These 3 days are not about achieving perfection. They are about cultivating presence and awareness. They are about gaining the clarity you need to make conscious decisions moving forward, rather than just reacting to whatever happens to your bank account. The earn flow zone isn't a magical place you arrive at someday after everything is perfect. It's a way of being with your money, actively engaging with it, consciously directing it, and powerfully shaping your financial future with intentionality and confidence. And that way of being starts right now with this simple act of courage, owning exactly where you are and deciding with conscious action where you are going next. Go track those dollars. Your journey to true financial empowerment, your journey into the earn flow zone, starts with this fundamental act of self-awareness and courage. Don't postpone it. Do it today. Remember this: taking control of your money isn't just about accumulating numbers in an account. It's about taking control of your life, about reducing stress, opening up possibilities you didn't know existed, and building the future you actually envision for yourself and your loved ones. This small, seemingly simple step of tracking your money is the foundation. It's the bedrock upon which true financial security, powerful growth, and lasting peace of mind are built. It requires a little discipline, a little honesty with yourself, and most importantly, a belief that you can steer your own course, no matter what your starting point is. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Start with the mindset shift. Take ownership, then take action.